Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spider Hands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out the second half. This is a part two of Niels H's album Orange Purple Skies. We listened to tracks 1 and 6 in the first album review, which I originally planned for that to be the one. But we're going to be listening to the whole thing, so we're going to be listening to the rest of the 7 tracks this time. So if we switch over to here, we're back on the YouTube music playlist. We're going to be going from Space in Between all the way down to Breathe. We're going to listen to these tracks from start to finish. And if you haven't seen the first part, feel free to check a bit earlier in this playlist, YouTube playlist, and yeah, we'll hear what we think. Again, sort of refamiliarizing myself with the overall tonality and sound of these guys. Oh, lovely. The clean guitars, the bass and drum sound a little bit more somber in this one. I'm liking how the vocals are sitting there nice and bright without being too sort of precocious. Oh, okay. So Space in Between is about the space in between the two people within this relationship. Like, a lot of the songs previously in the album have alluded to like the difficulties in relationships and trying to connect and sort of knowing when to sort of step away and all that. And now we're talking about trying to sort of close that distance and trying to find each other. I'm really liking the guitar tone. There's a little bit of a sizzle to it, a little bit of gain in there. I'm loving how active the drums are in that part. They're not really holding back that much. There's more in them. It sounds heavier because of that. Nice eighth note groove there. Bass line very active as well. And back into that hook. Nice backing vocals as well. I'm like sort of the chorus kind of effect on there, the choral effect there. It's dope. It's really nice. Nice pad-like thing from those backing vocals. That anywhere, that kind of that melody in there is really sick. So it harmonizes really well with the rest of the instruments, and sort of showcase a little bit of the fragility of the person wanting that other. That love interest to find them, you know? They're kind of desperate for it. Nice bit of vibrato on that as well. And nice to have that double take on that final line of the chorus. Oh, and sick guitar solo, man. A little bit more cautious and sort of sentimental than some of the other lead work I've heard off this album, which is fine. It suits this track well. Oh, nice little break here. This kind of low-key-ish kind of chorus is a nice contrast to when they fully go into it. Oh, sorry, no, I think I got confused there for a minute. That kind of interlude bit going into the chorus. There we go. Oh, those triplet fills are sick, man. Percussion on point. And finishing with that musical theme there. Oh no, it's shortened. It's allowing it to fade out. Nice touch. There was a lot of nuance in that one. Oh, Wonderland. Very different tonality to this one. This seems like a lot more grandiose. There's a sense of uncertainty to the individual melodies and how they intertwine together. Oh, that bass line, funky as hell, man. I dig those slaps. Those pops, man. There's another situation where it's good to have a vocalist who's in a higher range than the rest of the instruments, because that bass guitar is going up on its range, and the vocals are an octave up again, or I think they're an octave. Yeah, I think she's an octave up from that bass. It's just a segment. Okay, that was interesting. I was just like trying to like pay really close attention to what the vocals were saying throughout that part. Like the section previous to this where things are a little bit more low key. I wasn't sure if I totally got everything there. So it's like Wonderland, like about like going into her world and like sampling the delicacies and stuff like that. Is that the kind of the uncertainty that I heard at the start of the song, like playing off the kind of Alice in Wonderland kind of vibe, or? Like I can hear the vocals, I'm just not sure if I'm getting all the words in that part, and that just could be because I'm like I'm really digging the tone of that wire guitar in there. That's pretty sick. Oh, that chromatic shift there. Whoa, those intervals are dope, man. And then switching back to power chords. Alright, I'm hearing them more clearly now. Is there like some sort of filter on her vocals at that point? Like, has she got like a kind of a... And there's like a piano in there. I've just realized it's doing like a call and response for the vocals, isn't it? That every time that kind of chorus like part ends, it kind of da 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 kind of adds. It's like a question. It's like, do you really want to enter that Wonderland? You know what I mean? Did she, baby, you can't enter my Wonderland? Is that what I just heard? You can't enter it? Like, it's not a thing that occurs? Although they wouldn't be able to handle it. Oh, you can. Oh, you can enter the Wonderland, cool. Dope, alright, that's pretty sick. I like the track a lot. The instrumentation was really interesting, and the instrumental parts were played well. And the vocalist did a tremendous job. Yeah, I just wasn't able to... I don't know if I sort of caught everything in that, but from what I could tell, effectively, it was about sort of describing her like world and her sort of calling out to the person to find her after spaces in between. Now they've closed the gap, it's like, okay, you can enter this zone and kind of make what you want of it. We've got Vampire next. Nice sort of textural consistency with the instrumental parts. I'm glad they didn't use a whole lot of different amps or anything like that. Oh, we're really running that instrument strong. In a 3-minute track? That's cool. I dig it. I like the balls on that. Because usually people, a lot of artists I come across are kind of scared to let the instrumental parts run in a song this short for more than like 10 seconds, you know, because they're scared of there being sort of intro core. But I think at this point, Niels H have definitely earned the right to sort of just let the instruments speak for themselves. They're obviously competent. I like that. I dig it. I like how we have that 3-part of her just kind of describing herself as a girl on the other side of the room. I assume she might be the vampire, or maybe someone else is. And the vocal, even though I was backing vocals, like, oh, like, yeah, yep, no, seriously, this is it. This is your situation now. Sort of like a modulation of that sort of guitar riff. Where are we going with this? Oh, that's that chromatic bum bum. That's a chromatic shift there. That becomes really ominous and sort of demonic near the end of that. That signals something bad is about to happen. Da 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 da. That's still on a minor scale, but then this next part, it's like, oh, going to the tritone. And that vampire line repeated on that sort of signals that, yeah, okay. Yep, definitely. If you're feeling that something's off, you've confirmed it now. Are we repeating this line from the first verse? Oh, okay. So she definitely is the vampire there. Cool, cool. Oh, she can feel it in the body that the person is gonna sort of feed her appetite, fill her appetite. Okay. Obviously there's a metaphor there. It's a cool metaphor. It does kind of, you do get the image of someone like a vampire across the room just staring at you from this, like a party or something like that. Really low bass resonance from that, the kick and bass combination. Like, I can feel that. With like a cut on the vocals at around 200, 250 hertz. And that harmony. No, I don't think there's a harmony on that. They might be unison. And back to the bridge. I just like how sort of simplistic the lyrics are in this. It allows you to really easily understand what's going on. There's no confusion there. I'm wondering if this is, I don't know if this would be one of the singles, but it's like built like it could be a single, you know? Which isn't a bad thing at all. I think that you want every song to be good enough to be a single. Do you know what I mean? And like how the instruments just fade out at that point, they just break. It's really good because it forces you to pay attention to what the vocals are doing now. Oh, it just ended. Okay, we got Me for Me next. I'm liking the groove to this, dude. Got another. I mean, this is a longer song, so it's totally Like when you've got like a song that's 5 minutes, clearly you're wanting it to sort of take its time. You don't want to rush a 5-minute song. You know, you've got plenty of real estate, so. Oh damn, man. Those leads coming in. Their harmony there's pretty dope on there, pretty sick. Those fourths? Boom 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 boom. Trying to figure out that interval, like. Aha! I totally called it. It was a fourth interval. My hearing's not bad, man. And I actually got the right notes as well. It was a D and a G. Sick, man. Oh, it makes me happy. Just on a side note, I've been trying to do more ear training to improve these reviews because I want to sort of like be able to say, yep, that's definitively like a major chord or a minor chord. Well, I know what major and minors are, but you know, like the odder ones, like extended chords or like DOMs or whatever, you know, DOM sevenths and then the second and sixth and sevenths because I'm not as familiar with those guys. I'm doing ear training, so this is awesome. It's a good start. I like how Me For Me is a lot more gentle. I'm liking how like they're allowing the instruments to introduce it and then the vocals coming in not like again with that sort of confidence, that calm self-assurance, you know? Actually, it would be cool to know exactly how they did record this, like, if they did use different amps, different guitars, different sort of like... I think the bass tones remain relatively consistent throughout. There's a lot of fix work going on here. I liked how sort of... I really dug that chorus. It summed up the main message of the song really well. She needs someone to be there for her, to accept her for who she is. To be there when she needs it. She needs that support, that focal point. Kind of like this music, for whatever reason, which reminds you of some like movies I've seen where there's like fight tracks going on and stuff like that. So maybe someone will fight for her as well. Really nice double kick work, really nice and consistent. It's good that we haven't had too much double kicks. I'm not sure if it would have entirely suited the majority of the songs in this album, but I think here having this amount of space can it allows you to have sort of like space to do the kind of 16th notes in that pad. See, there are sometimes things there, not all the time. So like I think like in the verses where it's a bit quieter, it's kind of like those moments where someone's kind of slowly kind of lowering their walls to you, you know, like when they start kind of saying, oh well, actually this is what I need, you know, like when someone starts to finally talk to you once they've kind of gained a little bit of confidence, and then these choruses just like, seriously, this is part you need to pay attention to. They get more confidence, then they really start kind of voicing it, and then maybe like when the next verse comes, they pull back a little bit because they realize they got a bit loud. And you got those double kicks going here, really pummeling. Oh, I get it. So with this verse, the person she's talking about is maybe not reciprocating the way that that they need to be. They're not. There's not an equal like two-way split with the responsibilities. So there's like a lack of love and affection or support. And so the chorus is like, no, seriously, I need someone who'll do better than this. And so it's frustration. Cool, we have an interlude section. You know, like in a track like this, you do need to have like this extra bit to kind of spice things up a little bit to show some change, because otherwise you're just kind of doing the chorus and hook, the verse and hook like 4 or 5 times. Smart move. And this is by far the longest track in the album. I'd say this would be a very important one. Really should have gotten a bottle of water before I started this review. I'll take one maybe in a minute. They really like their 4th intervals, don't they? Kind of adds a kind of wacky, kind of whimsical kind of whimsical kind of nature to the whole thing. But I think if that like included minor third harmonies, that would have been a little bit too edgy. Do you know? This kind of gives like a 70s kind of prog rock kind of tone to it, which is kind of fun. Oh, there was a bit of a resonance to those toms, but they sound pretty good. Very organic tone to the drums here. I really love that. You know, like if you do too much sort of notch EQ into a drum kit, and I know this from personal experience, you can actually like kill the tone of it, and that's always a shame. Cool. There is dynamic range with the way he's doing the kicks. Like he's playing a lot harder in those 16th note sections. So, and that's exactly where it needs to kick in. The other side, yep, let's keep going. I don't have a lot of time today to do reviews, so I want to make sure that I'm giving this one its justice. Because, like, I know I didn't mention this at the start of the review, I'm really enjoying this album so far. The first 6 tracks, they were really solid. I love what these guys are doing with their music. I can relate to a lot of it. I really can. Like that little bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, and like one headphone is just like, oh wait, why is that on the other side? And then boom, into this section. What are they doing with the vocals there? I don't dislike it. Is there like another, are those 2 vocal takes in the same frequency, same? I mean, I know they're in the same frequency spectrum. Are they like this? Do they double take that bit to make it louder in the mix? Nice little harmony there. Okay, I see the progression. We've had Me for Me, and then she just hasn't gotten the response she needed. So she's saying, no, I'm sick of this. I don't want to continue being in this situation. I need to escape. Oh. Is this the chorus? I'm sorry, do we have like a pan flute or something? This is new. Or maybe my memory's playing tricks on me. Might be. Wouldn't put it past my memory. It's very chilled out. It's got a 90s kind of rock, kind of almost like a Red Hot Chili kind of vibe to it. I know I don't want to put it in a box or anything like that. Yeah, I'm getting a Red Hot Chili Pepper vibe from this part here. Obviously, the vocals are a little bit different, but yeah. I kind of preferred this, to be honest. That shift into this part where it gets a lot dark and a lot more desperate is really nice. It's so smooth, yet it's punctual when it needs to be. You've got these really subtle kind of backing vocals with this guitar and drums and bass. Oh yeah, she doesn't want to take more pills. This is messed her up so much she's having to rely on medication to, or a metaphor for that, of course. Something she's having to rely on things to sort of keep her. You know, that's horrendous. It sounds horrific. It sounds like a really rough time. You know, I'm really sorry that you know you've been going through that. You know, I can only assume this is based on real life experiences. I'm really sorry that you had to go through that horrific time. Again, when I say that this is music that a lot of people will be able to relate to, I think a lot of people do really struggle with relationships, you know? Some people are blessed and they, like my brother, who is married to the first person he got into a relationship with because apparently he's just had that blessed kind of situation. But a lot of people, they really struggle and they get hurt and messed around. And some people, it breaks them permanently. That's why I kind of like the attitude of, I want to change this. I don't want to just let this be who I become. It's a positive message. It's real. It's human. You know, there's consistent struggle throughout this album of coping with what the reality of the situation is. And, you know, you can still love someone even if they're hurting you and treating you like garbage. And that's the proponent of like an abusive, toxic relationship. But I'm looking forward to the end of this, not because I want this review to end, but because I want to see how it concludes. Maybe tomorrow. This is already sounding a little bit more upbeat. That bass is thumping, dude. That bass is real poignant in this. Or maybe I've misinterpreted the other side and it's more about like how she's just struggling with the being insecure in a relationship and she can't trust that this new person won't like hurt her too. Relationships are complicated, man. This is a complicated record, but I adore it for that. Just the music is communicating that we're kind of onto the right way path here. It's really like, look, it's gonna be a brighter tomorrow, dude. Seriously. Keep your head up. That's the kind of vibe I get from this. This is kind of like a dreamlike sequence, isn't it? Oh, it's just the vocals being panned in that part. That's kind of cute. You got these kind of funky kind of bar chords on top of the bass and kicks working together. Well, those bends are just succulent. Tone, dude. What was this recorded on? Was this recorded on like a Strat or a Telecaster or something like that? Sounds like Single Coil's one of those silvery kind of bar ones. Okay, so from what I can understand about this, the situation is... See, I'm learning about this. I'm learning because the song is communicating itself well. The album is communicating itself well. So, like... this has been fun. I've enjoyed this a lot. You got these synths as well that I've just noticed as well, like these little subtle... in you know, additions to the overall mix. I love that synth. It's so gorgeous, so dreamlike. It's so loving. It sounds adorable. It's so like a fantasy or something like that. Kind of dreaming of what will happen tomorrow. And we just end it like that. Man, that seems like it was too short. I think that's one of my favorite songs. But I also like the other side. I also kind of dug Vampire, Say My Name. I kind of like most of the tracks here. Better Alone is pretty good as well. I think I stopped a lot in Better Alone in my initial review of this because there was just so much stuff I wanted to point out. They've got a good way of kind of boom, dun, 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 da, 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 boom. They're kind of riding either the seventh and going into the tonic, or they're just taking it up a step in this bridge. Boom, boom, boom. The suffocating love is breaking my bones. Is maybe tomorrow kind of pretending that things will be better and that if you just keep at it, it will be okay? Oh, really? Oh, man. That kind of I love that. It's such a simple, chilled out kind of riff. It's so neutral and allows the vocalist to really do whatever the hell she wants. No, the singer is really good at expressing herself as well. She can be very kind of powerful when she wants to be, but there's also sort of like a sense of kind of like Vampire was that very kind of breathy kind of like sensual kind of way of sort of singing, and then you've got like this where she's Me For Me is sort of a little bit more vulnerable, and there's different personalities and different sort of angles shown here that show her range as you know, a singer, performer. Well, what are happening with those backing vocals? Very subtle. Oh? Ooh. That filtery kind of thing, man. Say you love me, I can't breathe. Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know what to make of this situation. Because like Breathe really wants you to focus on the fact that like it's killing her. The situation is really affecting her negatively. I really don't know what to make of this track, and I'm kind of it's something you've got to be very careful about. Oh, sorry. I don't know what the heck this is. We'll go back. Stop. Thank you. um, oh, right, autoplay was on. My bad. I'm sorry. Can I like remove that, please? Let's talk about Orange Purple Skies by Niels H as a whole now that I kind of have more of a concept about what the whole thing is about. I first want to say that I am blessed to have been able to review both parts of this and to review the album as a whole. It's the first time I've done a two-parter though. Sometimes I will review the album in its entirety, but it's only usually for people that I've sort of checked out before and am familiar with their work. I hadn't heard Niels H before, and I kind of wish that I had. They're very good. They're very good performers. Instrumental, I've just got to turn my camera on. Because it's that time. It's a time for me to talk about stuff. I couldn't really fault anything they were doing in terms of the guitar work or the bass or the drums. It was a very human performance, and when I say that, there was like the occasional sort of note that was noticeably maybe a little bit quieter than it needed to be. Like I could tell that some of the kicks were gentle, and so like occasionally the bass would just not care about the sidechain. And that's fine. The bass was bombastic for life. I dig it, and I'm glad that there was dynamic range on the percussion. I think that's really important. It was powerful and very kind of like controlled when it needed to be, and when there were points where there needed to be a little bit more sort of emotional depth or range in the dynamics, that was adhered to as well. I've got no real complaints about the way that the instruments were played. Singer on point throughout the whole entire record. There are a lot of different things that occurred throughout this. Like there were situations where there were double takes and there were all these kind of interesting harmonies going on with the backing vocals of Main. Sometimes she just sung on her own. Sometimes there was like panning and filtered effects and all that kind of stuff. There was a range of intensities which she sung. She was comfortable with her vibrato and various techniques. In terms of her actual technique, it sounded very healthy. There was no point in which she sounded like she was really struggling to hit the notes. Very comfortable within her own range, and I think that's very, very important. There is absolutely no need whatsoever to push yourself in an album recording, especially if you're recording it in the space of a week or something like that, because if you aren't careful when, obviously, if you know, and I know this, right? But vocals are incredibly delicate. If you don't have good technique, and you record for the whole week and you're not taking care of your vocals and you're just doing take after take, you're going to destroy your chords, man. You're going to destroy them. And so it's testament to the skill on display by the band as a whole that this record turned out the way that it did. I adore the subjects within the song. Each of these tracks had their own sort of identity, and that is a difficult thing to do in an album, especially when a lot of the concept material was thematically about sort of relationships and sort of like the difficulties of them and the complexities of them, because there was good parts as well. There was like the physical attraction. It was talking about the sort of like how they affect each other, the sort of like mind games involved. There were also the intensity difficulties, something like being unable to live without someone, being able to breathe that out, being told that they love you. And there's also parts where they're told to stay away from them, stay away because I don't want to have that them in their lives. There's parts where there was anger, genuine anger because of what occurred. It was a complex album that was maturely handled and it was very professional. The recording, mixing, and mastering was very, very good. Occasionally, just because I'm very anal and pedantic, I could occasionally hear parts where maybe the vocals were like a little bit quiet, or maybe because of the range of the vocalist, it was kind of caught in between some of the other elements of the mix. And so I could hear, like you could hear them clearly, you could hear the vocals, but I couldn't pick up exactly what words which were spoken. And that is just, it's literally the smallest thing really, because I think it's these headphones I've got. These are headphones that I use personally when I do mix and mastering. They're punishing, but that's not to say that I think that they did a bad job with the mixing and mastering. It's just literally just me being transparent as a reviewer. It's literally just, there was occasionally, I pointed this out in the review, maybe one or two moments where I couldn't really tell what the lyrics were. That's it. And part of that is just because we were allowing ourselves to have dynamic range with the vocals. We didn't have the vocals compressed to heck, you know? We didn't have them smashed like a pop recording where you hear the breathing and anything else, and then you're relying on sort of like plugins that then cut all the tiny little noises, and it's just a nightmare. I personally prefer the way that this was produced. I think that as a whole, it tells an interesting story. There are twists. I'm not entirely sure what to think about this at the moment because there's a lot to sort of take in from it. But I will think about this record because I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth putting that time to thinking about. Obviously, Niels H are an act that are very passionate about the music that they make. I wish these guys the best of luck in future. When I say guys, I mean, I live in New Zealand. We say guys for everyone, right? I wish these musicians the best of luck in future with everything that they do because they deserve it. They've made a really good album and they deserve success. They didn't take the piss. They aren't taking the listener's attention for granted. They're doing things to keep you interested. They're also giving songs to people who are okay with a little bit less kind of, oh, here's the vocals within like a second kind of vibe, especially with Me For Me. I think that it was important that we took our time for this track. But most of these tracks are 3 minutes. They're well worth your time. It's like candy. You just eat it, and then the time flies by. This is not an album where you have to commit to it and do some meditation beforehand and take half a day off work to get through it. Although you might be thinking about it for the rest of the day nonetheless. That's effectively my review of part 2 of Orange Purple Skies by Niels H. And this is the end of my review of the entire album. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this review, and hopefully you will show Niels H some love and go and check out this album for yourself and listen to it without me interrupting it every 5 seconds. Please stay cool and stay safe. And remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need their help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on at this point in time. And I mean, just before I go, I think it's good that I don't know what I don't know. I want more time to think about what my correct thoughts on this overall message of the song would be. I could tell there was to and fro and uncertainty and all that. I think that's kind of the most beautiful thing about this is that it's so open to interpretation, unless I've just missed something catastrophic, unless I have missed something and I am completely off the bat, and that could be a possibility. That could be a possibility because sometimes it's the thing, you're paying attention to a guitar riff and then someone says a very important word and then your whole review's screwed. Stay cool, stay safe, and see you next review. Catch you next review. Spider hands up. Well done, Niels H. Did a good job.